We are traveling from the very west of Germany.
We made it to the most west point of Germany!
On a 4-part video series to the very east of Germany, stopping by some iconic German landmarks.
That is a nice building, a very nice building.
And some lesser known towns along the way. In the last video, we made it into the state of Thuringia. We stopped by the former Iron Curtain that once divided Europe during the Cold War, and we spent the night camping in the state capital city of Erfurt. Which brings us to this morning, waking up in a blackout tent, finally realizing which universe we are in, and waddling over to the bathrooms.
Guten Morgen, Leute. We made it. Good morning. We've successfully slept in a tent in Germany.
I'm super surprised how good I slept, how well I slept. I had a better night than in the hotel yesterday, and maybe TMI, but I hate public toilets. And I'm very sensitive sleeping, but I slept pretty decently and I already did a number 2. So very successful start into this day.
I'm glad we have an update on Phil's bowel movements. He also was farting in the tent, so that was also fun. Thank God for Luften, am I right?
Did we just become campers?
There's a few things we can improve on, but this was honestly not a bad first go at it.
In contrast to many hotels, the people here are super considerate. Everybody is super quiet. It's maybe because the average age is probably like 65, but it's very nice, very nice. Let's give you a little tour of the hotel.
This is our first time using this tent outside of our apartment. Having this front section to leave our shoes and some supplies was very handy. This was also our first test run night, and we didn't have a lot of camping equipment. We used a folding mattress, blow-up mattress, and our extra blankets and pillows. It was honestly everything we needed. The tent was very cozy, spacious, and blackout.
We've got to break it down, clean it up, and head back on the road and get some coffee because we don't have any camping like cooking coffee thing, and I'm dying right now.
Honestly, we both slept way better in this tent than in the previous holiday apartment in Winterberg. It cost 40 euros to use the tent camp spot and all of the restroom facilities. The bathroom facility was very clean, and everyone on the campground was very quiet and respectful. At this point, we would definitely do it again. Alright, remember those rules from the first video? Now we can successfully cross off rule number 4, Phil's desire to sleep in a tent. And it took us exactly 5 minutes to fold this tent up and pack it away. And now it's time to get back on the road.
Yes. All right, 623 kilometers in, and off we go, full gas tank.
All right, we're on the road again. We are avoiding highways, but our first destination is only 30 minutes away, which is nice. And as you can tell from the title of this video, we are ending in Dresden tonight. That is the goal, at least. Hopefully everything goes well. Yes. We just went to a gas station, got our nice coffee for caffeine to fuel us because we didn't have like a whole breakfast set up like half of the RVs did around us. Yeah. We saw like people cooking, enjoying nice breakfast on the table. Overall, the whole camping experience wasn't that bad. Yeah. It was the first time we learned a little bit of things. 3 main things we learned. We need to get an adapter for the electricity. We need to get some type of mosquito or bug repellent, and third, we can't forget our chairs next time.
Yeah, but honestly, I feel better, way better right now than what I thought I would feel at this point on day 3.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah. So yeah, maybe we become camping people.
We are now.
We are.
And less than 30 minutes later, we are in Weimar. And first things first, we need a proper coffee. We asked for a specific cake I was looking for, but they said this cake is, quote, a Saxony cake, so only coffee for now.
All right, hello, it's Deana. These are some facts out of my head. We are in Weimar. Weimar is a small city in central Germany and has a huge cultural legacy. It was home to Goethe, Schiller, and the Bauhaus movement, and it gave its name to Germany's first democracy, the Weimar Republic. Today, it is known for classical architecture, museums, and deep historical impact. And if you were wondering what the Bauhaus movement was, it was a revolutionary art, design, and architecture movement founded in 1919 here in Weimar, Germany. They also often call Weimar the cradle of German culture.
Weimar has a population of around 65,000, and walking through this small-sized city, it felt very calm. It was very peaceful and spacious, and very, very clean. There was noticeably less graffiti compared to the bigger cities in Germany.
So far I can only say good things about all these cities here in the more eastern part of Germany. And they're super quaint, they're colorful, they're well maintained, very clean. and there's a good amount of green in the city, a lot of parks. I think it's also a very popular town to go to because it's culturally so important. Like a lot of school trips. When I was in school, there was a school trip offered. Yeah, it's just something a lot of people, a lot of Germans, I think, visit because of the intellectual property that all came from here. There are a lot of tour groups here, also a lot of school classes. I think that's a good indicator for there's some interesting historical stuff going on in any city where that happens. Ooh, Texas Steakhouse. Yeehaw, brother. But then check out that half-timbered building. That looks crazy.
Despite the pretty buildings, I think Phil had food in mind.
Okay, why does Eastern Germany have more soup takeout places?
Soup takeout, where?
Yeah. There's a Suppenbar.
Oh, yum.
Soup takeout places are just not a thing. When I grew up, they are not big all around Germany, but I noticed over here there are a couple more of them, and I am jealous because there's some good soups out there.
Speaking of food, there was a decent amount of bratwurst advertised everywhere. So the next sizzling stall we smelled, we had to get one.
Ja, Dankeschön. Jo, du auch.
All right, so before we leave Thüringer, we have to have a Thüringer Rostbratwurst, and it's my favorite Wurst in Germany.
Yeah. So I think they also claim it's the best bratwurst.
Yeah, I really like it. There's a little stall there. It looked good. It's grilling fresh. A lot of people are grabbing their bratwurst or frikadellebrötchen to go, so let's give it a try. Dude, I love this flavor. It's one of the heartier ones and juicy, but there's something in the seasoning that's always nice. I really like it. It's got a nice crispy edge from being grilled on there. And Phil put mustard and ketchup in there. I like it with mustard. It's my go-to. I
can never decide, so I go with both.
Yeah. Awesome.
So I feel like every region in Germany claims to have one of the best sausages or whatever, but I do believe the Thüringer Rostbrat was actually one of the best. I just never know ketchup or mustard.
Always mustard. I'm a mustard fan.
I think it might be the best one.
Yeah, it's my favorite. And I didn't even know it existed before meeting you, so thank you.
What can I say
except you're welcome.
It's not that I'm from Thüringer.
And just like that, we were able to cross another goal off of our road trip rules, eating a Thüringer Rostbratwurst in the state of Thüringer. By this point, y'all know how I feel about this juicy sausage, but I'm curious, what is your favorite German sausage?
What can I say, man? Erfurt, Weimar, just super nice so far.
Very aesthetic,
yeah.
Like very pretty.
And before we leave the Weimar area, there's another stop we had to make while here. It is less than a 20-minute drive outside of the city center in a strategically placed, secluded area. Okay, we're arriving at the memorial for the Buchenwald concentration camp. This is the Buchenwald Memorial. This was a concentration camp built by the Nazis in 1937, where over 56,000 prisoners were killed.
Okay, we're listening to this audio guide. This is the entrance gate to the camp.
Then afterwards, from 1945 to 1950, the Soviet occupying power used this site as an internment camp, imprisoning 26,000 people here. Today, this is the biggest concentration camp memorial in Eastern Germany. We downloaded the audio guide and walked through the campgrounds, buildings, exhibitions, and museum.
So right here is a guard post, and then here's the guard path to monitor the outside of the camp to make sure no prisoners escaped. This was a fully fenced area. The whole complex is fully fenced in, and this is some of the original that still remains.
While many of the buildings have been destroyed, there are many that have been reconstructed or recreated. The website and the audio guide provide so much historic information.
So it is pretty crazy to be at these campsites. I have to say, there's visually not too much left, but you still get a feel for the vastness, the size of the area, and what happened here with the crematorium and stuff.
The audio guide does a good job of describing and explaining and adding a visual.
56 or 59,000 people, I think, were killed in this camp, and it's one of the biggest ones, and definitely one of the most known ones. So in Buchenwald, Time to mark. Yes, Weimar. Okay, okay. Boop. Half an hour.
And we're back on the road. Unfortunately, due to time, we have to get onto the A4 for a little while. We tried to avoid the Autobahn as much as possible, but fortunately traffic wasn't horrible this time. Although there was a decent amount of construction going on for over 7 miles, and even passing state lines.
Yeah. Saxony! We can get the Eierschecker. Is that how you say it? Eierschecker?
We saw these cute signs telling us how much longer the construction would last.
So excited.
Made it, it says. Geschafft.
Yeah, construction's over! Everyone go!
Luckily for us, we were able to get off the Autobahn and drive through some country roads.
So we're about 45 minutes, half an hour outside of Dresden, and we were able to get off of the Autobahn and get into the countryside again. And Phil and I have been talking, and we feel like a lot of the country, like south of Hanover to maybe Heidelberg, is very similar in the center. It's like these just rolling hills, a lot of countryside, a lot of farmland. You see some like wind turbines, solar panels and everything, but just a lot of rural living. And then we're gonna be in Dresden soon. Woohoo!
We finally see Dresden from a distance, and we are able to get some cool first impressions of the outer city.
Free bird.
We quickly check into our hotel villa accommodation and rush immediately into the city, trying to see as much as possible before the sun sets. Luckily it's summer and the sun doesn't set until like 9 p.m.
Dresden, big park, check.
Before we go further into the city, we are asking you to please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more videos around the world. If you want to further support us, you can do that at patreon.com/Deana and Phil. And shout out to our soulmate tier Patreon members, Laura and Jared, Roger Lubka, Robin, and David Dugmore. Thank you!
Why am I getting Katowice vibes right now? Are you too?
Because we're almost in Poland.
No, it's
almost
not.
made
No,
it to the east.
But I think the trams and how like the colors and some of the buildings are new, but some of them are old. It reminds me of it, right? You too?
Yeah. Definitely has some vibes. Nice town square here. Definitely some impressive buildings already. Dude, the clouds just always look like cotton candy. How nice is that? Cotton candy clouds?
Oh, yeah, they look good right now. Good.
You look like one. Nice shirt.
I am a cloud.
The further we walked into Dresden Altstadt, the more impressive the buildings got. Some of these buildings felt even more massive due to the large sidewalks and pedestrian-only zones, giving us space to admire them with a distance.
This is apparently the Dresden Castle, one of the more iconic buildings in the city.
Pretty. All right, first impression immediately, just a lot of gold. From like statues in a park to the Rathaus having like golden featured gates and a lot of the toppings on these historic buildings. There was a store or restaurant named Alex that also had like a huge gold sign. So that's my immediate first impression, like just a little blink impression, a lot of gold.
They like gold here.
A lot of gold.
As we walk towards one of the most famous areas of the city, we become surrounded by these large, beautiful, dramatic style buildings.
All right, we made it to one of the main attractions here in the east, Dresden City. Yeah. And we're in one of the most iconic spots right now. Actually, there's two of the famous churches or towers in the background. This right here is the famous Zwinger, which is some like palace complex, I think. And then here we have the opera building, the famous Semperoper. And I think this spot right here sums up very nicely why people speak so highly of Dresden. So what is your first impression?
Just walking over here, it feels so grand and so spacious, and I think that's rare in a German city. You often have like a Marktplatz, but this is so open. It feels...
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm getting like Vienna mixed with like Katowice vibes. Yeah. I already said that to Phil just walking in. I was like, this feels a little bit like that. Older buildings, but also new buildings. There's definitely a lot of more modern buildings here. And I just immediately noticed gold. From clock face faces to little like rims to fences to gates. Especially now that it's sunny right now, they just glisten in the sunshine. So I see it a lot.
Yeah, and I have to agree, I think the square is the best example of how open it is. Grand is probably the right word for it. And what I always thought was cool is that the buildings, they feel older, but they have this rugged, slightly darker vibe to
like
it. Right?
Worn
Darker.
in. Yeah, you know, like when stone like gets a little bit of this moss or whatever debris on it.
It feels like, you know, churches, castles out of like Skyrim or like, you know, Gothic video game or something like that. And I like that.
Yeah, it feels historic.
Of course, we're here late on our day 3, so a lot of things are closed, but I think we're going to go into the Zwinger. I haven't been there either,
yeah,
so let's check it out,
both of us.
And we'll see what it has.
Phil has been to Dresden a few times when he was working in the south of Germany, but this being my very first time, I cannot get over how massive some of these buildings are. And the Dresden Zwinger definitely fits the massive theme. This is a palace that embodies the high Baroque style of architecture.
Wow, feels very grand.
And under construction.
It is one of the city's most iconic landmarks, and even though there is currently construction going on, it is still extremely impressive.
This is very impressive. Everywhere you look, there's details, there's statues, there's carvings everywhere, and the arches. And this is just a small part of the city. Their butts look like yours.
It's hard to capture on camera the amount of detail in all of these columns, statues, and edges. I mean, just look at the statues on this balustrade.
I think this will make for a good concert square, right?
I was thinking house.
House, yeah, in a courtyard of that.
In a courtyard. Yeah. You could do all the activities.
Hey, we can delusionally dream of having a palace to ourselves, right?
I feel like this is very video game-like.
Yeah, the gold. Do you see it glistening in the sun?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean. There's like little gold accents everywhere.
Alright, so I can tell you firsthand out of Brain GPT, the Zwinger in Dresden, Germany is a famous Baroque palace complex and one of the city's most iconic landmarks. Originally built in the 18th century by architect Matthias Daniel Pöppelmann and sculptor Balthasar Permoser. And it was commissioned by the Elector of Saxony as a space for court festivities and exhibitions. So just like I said, for concerts basically. Wow, that is a nice building. A very nice building. Right there. You see that building? That's a nice building. Whew. Excuse me, sir, ma'am, angel.
It's time to see more of the city center. I cannot get over how massive and detailed these buildings are. The Dresden Zwinger was severely damaged during the Allied bombing of Dresden in 1945, so this was meticulously reconstructed for years during the post-war. Most of the historic city center was completely flattened, about 15 square kilometers, which is around 6 square miles. Many of these iconic buildings were in ruins and have since been restored. It's hard to fully grasp the amount of effort the city and the people went through to complete these structures and buildings. Walking around here today, it's absolutely beautiful and impressive.
Alright, so we're overlooking the river Elbe that flows through Dresden, and I just found out in the back there's a bridge called the Carola-Brücke, which apparently partially collapsed in September 24, so not that long ago. Nobody was injured. The tram apparently just crossed it a minute earlier. But yeah, the river is also, I would say, the other highlight of the city with the architecture, and it gives us, again, this like open, grand vibe. Also, I think across two very famous buildings. The left building was a former governmental building, and then the right one is the Saxon State Ministry of Science and Art.
With a golden top.
Yeah.
You can see it glistening in the sun.
Look on that side. A lot of golden statues, angels.
Yeah, so far the vibes are really nice. Like, I love looking at all of the historic buildings, but also this like touches of gold and like modern buildings. And I think any city with a body of water running through it, mwah, chef's kiss, it's amazing.
What do you think?
And before we eat dinner, we had to see one of the most iconic buildings in the Old Town. On this day, there was some type of event with lots and lots of dancing.
All right, so we're here in the plaza right in front of the famous Frauenkirche, and there's so much happening right now. I also noticed that there is a very good amount of pedestrian-only zones, which I think really enhances the city. And you're not looking out for bikes, you're not looking out for cars, you're not looking out for trains or anything. It's just people walking, and it's very wide. So even though it's a very touristy busy city right now, it doesn't feel too claustrophobic like some cities can feel.
true, yeah.
So it feels really nice.
The Neumarkt Square in Dresden is one of the most popular and touristy areas of the city.
Right behind me, the most famous site of Dresden, and of course it is the Frauenkirche. This has been built in the 18th century, 1726 to 1743. It is one of the greatest Baroque churches in Europe. And the massive stone dome, the Steinerne Glocke, was an engineering marvel of its time. Unfortunately, World War II happened and it got completely destroyed in 1945 during the Dresden bombing by the Allied forces. However, after the German reunification, a citizen-led effort raised funds worldwide to rebuild it, and the reconstruction actually lasted from 1994 to 2005 and used original stones where possible, and it was seen as a symbol of healing after the war and after the division has ended. It reopened in 2005, which is not that long ago if you think about it, with an international dedication as a peace church, and that is why it's a huge deal. For the last 20 years it's been back. It looks like that now. Very famous. It's closed right now. We're too late, so we're gonna go and eat something.
Yes, time for some food. There are a lot of German restaurants to choose from in the city center. We just picked one that had some decent reviews because by this time in the day, we are hungry.
Alright, it is dinner time in Dresden. The sun is about to set. The city's absolutely beautiful, especially at golden hour in the evening, but we came here for some food. And we got a couple very German and especially Saxon dishes because we're in Saxony now. And what I got here is a Dresdner Sauerbraten. So we are from the Rhineland area, Düsseldorf, where also Sauerbraten is very famous, but this one is the Saxon style. So it is this beef roast here that is nicely roasted. It comes with almonds on top, raisins. There's blue cabbage on the side, some dumplings, and it looks very nice, very dark. So see if the one from Saxony is better as the one from Düsseldorf area, North Rhine-Westphalia.
Rheinischer versus Dresdener.
Dude, it's so soft.
Is it? I'm curious, because sometimes the Sauerbraten can be pretty dry.
It's gonna be a hard fight. I'm gonna take one of these dumpling pieces here and do a quarter of that. Put some blue kraut. They call it Blaukraut here. I know it as Rotkraut. But it is pretty blue.
You know it as Rotkohl, not Rotkraut.
Krautkohl, and the sauce is very, very dark. I love that. A nice dark gravy. Dude, that also is very soft. It like melts on your tongue. This might be a hint better than the standard ones that we get in the Rhineland area.
Oh, those are fighting words. Those are fighting words.
I don't know. If you know your stuff, maybe comment below which one you like better.
Okay, so I decided to go with sweet and savory combo here. I have a sweet dish and also a savory dish, and this is a Kartoffel soup. So we're in the state of Saxony, and this is a Saxony style potato soup. So I'm pretty excited to see. It looks like there is a little bit of meat in there, so I do have some wurst in here, but it just looks like this nice creamy pureed potato. See some spices in there, some seasoning, so we'll see.
Wait, why are you trying the Kartoffelsuppe if I'm the potato fill?
I don't know. It's a little more sour than I expected initially. That's interesting. Hold on.
She keeps eating, can't be that bad.
Don't get me wrong, it's good. It's good. I was just trying to figure out the flavor because I think I'm used to more of like a creamy style soup, and this is definitely more broth-based soup. It's good. Also, I love in Germany, soup comes with bread, but it's this nice, like, this looks like a sourdough bread, right? It's like this nice, spongy, darker bread. Let's do a little dip. Oh yeah.
I said it in Thüringer. There's for some reason more soups, and here again the potato soup is very nice. You're right, it's very sour, but I love it.
All right, so this next thing I decided to get was called a Quarkkeulchen. It looks like a quark-based pancake pretty much. Maybe similar to Quarkkeulchen. Quark is a dairy product in Germany, very common. It's like a mix between sour cream, yogurt, and like cream cheese. I don't know how to describe it. And then this one is served with some nice Apfelmus, chunky applesauce.
Yeah, it's not fully pureed, it's kind of chunky, it looks nice.
But I guess I will try it with this. That's a very big shtuk, but I'm just gonna go for it, right?
Yes.
All at once.
Starting with the dessert, basically.
Yum. That's so good. There's also a little bit of sugar and cinnamon sprinkled on top, which is very nice. It's not quite as fluffy as a pancake, but it's in that shape, right? And it's been fried on each side. And the quark is a little thicker, a little more hearty in substance.
With this apple meal, since I was a child, I like my applesauce properly pureed.
Really? I like the chunky.
I didn't like the chunkies, and still don't.
Overall, that was a delicious meal, and my favorite part of the meal would have to be this Sauerbraten sauce with these dumplings. So good.
Ooh, that's so nice. That's so good. This is awesome. Oh dang, I might steal this from you. All right, so we're back on the river, enjoying the sunset. It looks so pretty. I'm very satisfied with the food. The whole area felt pretty touristy, to be honest, especially the restaurant. The two original restaurants I had marked, I didn't realize how far out of the city they actually are. Yeah, we ended up just going to something that was pretty close and central, and yeah, it was pretty good though, right?
Yeah, so I think in the central area where all the churches are around the Frauenkirche and the Zwinger, there's not much like day-to-day life stuff. It's just restaurants made for tourists. And I do believe most of them potentially are tourist traps, and the food was good, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
However, it was very expensive. The people from Dresden would probably agree with me, like please comment below if you're from the area, if you know the area.
Yeah.
It's probably not the smartest thing to go to a restaurant in that area. I would assume the more reasonably priced ones are outside, but we are on a tight schedule, that's why we went there, and it still was good, very good food. I think Deana just made a very good point there. On this side of the river, you have all the tourist attractions, and it's where all the tourists are. And I remember too, on the other side of the river, you can see right now there's a shit ton of people just enjoying the field, and that is probably where the locals are, because I stayed in hotels over there before and it felt way more realistic day-to-day life. So maybe that's the separation, tourists on that side, locals on that side.
Yeah, it's funny because we were both also talking, we were like, we haven't seen a single supermarket yet. Yeah, and we walked a very decent amount, like we're staying a little outside, walked through a park, walked through the city a little bit, and haven't seen a single supermarket. So I'm curious, our breakfast stop for tomorrow is a little outside of the city on our way out, so I'm excited about that. I also want to get a classic dish that's from here. I hope they have it, because by now, this time of the day, most of them are sold out. So I hope tomorrow I can get it. We'll give you a little tour of our hotel that we're staying at, but we're gonna go and enjoy the sunset
because
right now.
It's a funny one.
It's a funny one.
We enjoyed the sunset along the river and soaked in the city. I am a sucker for a sunset over water, and this was the perfect way to end our time in the historic Altstadt. And on our way back to our hotel, we had to pick up some essentials.
Going to the Netto, getting the stuff.
We had to get a few things that I haven't seen at our local supermarkets in Düsseldorf.
All right, we're back from the city center. This was a very, very long day. But before we go to bed, we want to give you a quick tour. So we thought, Dresden, instead of staying at one of these fancy chain hotels, we thought maybe we give this highly rated villa a try. And you saw the villa downstairs. It looks nice on the outside. It has quite of the grand entrance hall. Then you climb up these stairs and it's so vast. And then you come into our room. Unfortunately, it's a bit more show than what's on the inside, you know, a little bit more on the outside. This is the studio room. This is a very narrow bed for two people. I want to say this is a 150. Ooh, this is even a 140. This might be a 140 bed. We're in the rooftop, and as you can see, there's majorly slanted walls, and it's so hot in here. I wish you could feel it. It's like 5 to 10 degrees warmer than outside. I think I'm just spotting another spider. So this is basically the room. It looks a little bit like Grand Maisch. I guess that is the charm of this old villa. And then we have this grand master bathroom. Very slanted as well here. And it's quite the big room. Quite echoey, as you can hear, because there's nothing in here. You have all the space.
Show how you're gonna shower.
And here is a bathtub without a curtain or anything. And I guess you have to hold this thing up and try not to water the room. And I kind of wish I was back at the campground.
Yeah, so looking back on it, instead of getting this nice villa experience, maybe we should have gone with the chain hotel and aircon. Anyways, this is Dresden. We will see a little more of Dresden tomorrow before heading further east.
Yes, so tomorrow is going to be our last day of this journey to the most eastern point of Germany. We're going to start in Dresden, head further east, and then the last part we might have to hike through the fields a little bit in search for that border.
Yes, we'll see you next time. Gute Nacht.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Eine Straße, viele Bäume.
Ja, das ist
alle.
There's a Circle K in Dresden. I don't understand, we've seen it all over the world, but in Germany, never.